Now to part two of an exclusive CBS News Philadelphia investigations report, the murder of 12-year-old Malinda Hoagland.
The Chester County child died last month after prosecutors say her father and his girlfriend tortured and starved Malinda for months.
Our investigative team worked on gathering information for weeks on suspects Rendell Hoagland and Cindy Warren. Here's Chief Investigative Reporter Joe Holden.
Ms. Warren, what about Malinda? Prosecutors say you tortured and starved her to death. Is that true? We caught up with Cindy Warren at an unrelated court hearing just yesterday and tried to ask her about the death of Malinda Hoagland. Do you want to say anything at all in your defense?
I'm not here for that.
I'm here for it.
I'm glad you are.
Protective measures were in place to keep 12-year-old Malinda Hoagland away from Cindy Warren. This 2020 custody order we obtained spelled it out in black and white. Quote, the minor child shall not be left in the care of Cindy Warren, father's fiancé, for any period of time exceeding 1 hour unless expressly agreed upon by mother and father through written communication. According to police, Malinda was living with Rendell Hoagland, her father, and his girlfriend, Cindy Warren. And according to lawyers for the family, this was in violation of the custody order.
We knew that something had gone terribly wrong.
Alexandria Crothamel and Tom Bosworth are attorneys representing Malinda's estate, as well as Malinda's 3 older half-sisters.
Monroe County was already cued in to the fact that she was living with Malinda and that she had this history.
This history, attorney Tom Bosworth is referring to Cindy Warren's guilty plea all the way back in 2007 for felony child endangerment for the abuse of her 3-year-old child in Monroe County. Dressed in black, this is Warren leaving court in 2007. She was sentenced to 3 to 7 years in jail for endangering the 3-year-old. At the time in 2007, Warren was married to a man named McKinley Warren. He was charged in a completely separate cold case from the year 2000, where prosecutors say he beat his 2-year-old daughter, Jessica Bach, to death. McKinley Warren.
Hold on. This is a lot of information. So you mean to tell me the girlfriend got a thing for like child beaters or child killers? What is happening here? Let's keep going.
Pleaded guilty and was given 50 years in prison. Only weeks ago, the district attorney in Monroe County took to Facebook saying the courts had removed children from Cindy Warren's custody following the death of 2-year-old Jessica Bach, a death she was not charged in connection with. Mike Mancuso spoke with me over Zoom about similarities with the case in Chester County and how in his post, he wrote, Cindy Warren had an ability to hide her conduct from social workers back then. Chester County investigators said Warren and Hoagland secluded Malinda from mandated reporters and others who would have been able to help.
I'm sure everybody involved in that line of work is regretting perhaps not taking more action to ensure that that the child was somebody had eyes on that child and what was going on.
I wonder. So the custody, they said that was against the custody agreement. So, well, I wonder where her mother was. Did the mother lose custody and that's why she had to stay with the father? But then the father's not allowed to have the girlfriend. This is crazy.
2020, Warren would meet Rendell Hoagland and his daughter Malinda. Sometime in 2022, police say the couple moved with Malinda to Chester County. Despite that 2020 custody order, which severely restricted Cindy Warren's contact with Malinda, the 12-year-old lived with Cindy Warren, along with her father and one of Cindy Warren's children, until her death last month, according to police. Our investigation and information from documents, records, and interviews revealed missed red flags, from a custody order to reports from Malinda's middle school to Child Protective Services.
I don't know of a case with more of a monumental breakdown in communication and protection in Pennsylvania when it comes to child abuse than this case.
Arrest papers for Hoagland and Warren indicate Malinda was pulled out of North Brandywine Middle School in November. She was eventually withdrawn from the Coatesville School District on January 3rd. CBS News investigations obtained these school records showing Malinda had so-called illegal absences dating back more than a year. Last month, the school district released a statement to the CBS investigators about Malinda's death. Quote, "Our staff diligently reported concerns about her welfare to the state agency that receives and manages concerns. Shortly thereafter, she was withdrawn from our schools." Sources close to the investigation confirmed Chester County Children, Youth, and Families was notified by the school district. And in statements he allegedly made to police in connection with his arrest for attempted homicide, Rendell Hoagland admitted CYF contacted him by phone only and never came to the house.
And this is
No one looks after the children. We talked about this in that crazy case in Charlotte. They do the bare minimum. Some say that the social workers have too many mouths, too many children to look after, too many caseload, and I can understand that. But something got to be done. You can't. I don't know if it was just a miss because they had too many caseloads, too many children to look after, just a miss because they didn't care. But something has to be done to look after the children. Too many bad people who aren't supposed to be with the children are with them, and then the people who are supposed to look after them don't do it. Absolutely crazy.
systemic, humiliating abuse of a child that that professionals who are here to protect kids could and should detect through a home visit, and that's why we have home visits. There were these calls from the school, all of these red flags, and so thinking about that court order, it was kind of eerie to read it, given what's happened.
Once Malinda was withdrawn from public school in January, Hoagland allegedly told investigators she enrolled in cyber school, but police wrote in an affidavit of probable cause requesting the arrest for attempted homicide last month. Other than logging in for school Zooms and likely seeing friends, Hoagland said he couldn't provide details of any interactions Malinda had outside the home after January. Attorneys for the family say given the custody order, Warren's history of a child endangerment conviction, and calls to CYF, there should have been follow-up by Child Protective Services.
This should have never happened. There shouldn't even be a discussion about how many missed opportunities there were here. If we go the way we're going with this system in place, there's going to be another Malinda Hoagland.
A spokesperson for Chester County Children, Youth, and Families wrote in a statement that there is profound sadness with this case, quoting, "As required by law, CYF has convened a review team and an official report reflecting the findings will be developed. Due to the confidential nature of child protection cases such as this, we cannot comment further on any aspects of Malinda's case." Sources do tell us charges against Rendell Hoagland and Cindy Warren will soon be upgraded to murder. Attorneys for the pair declined to comment.
This is one of the worst, not the worst, one of the worst cases I've seen about the CPS not doing their job. And because of that, the child has died. But let's get over to, remember, this was a year ago. So let's get over to the father has finally been sentenced. The jury has sentenced him guilty, has ruled guilty against him. So let's get over to that.
Well, now to a story that CBS News Philadelphia has been following for 2 years now. The search for justice for 12-year-old Malinda Hoagland, the little girl who died back in 2024 after months of starvation and abuse. And now her father has entered a plea that spares him the death penalty.
Our Joe Holden was in court today in Chester County and joins us live now. Joe?
Quite the hearing, Yuki and Natasha. In fact, Malinda Hoagland's half-sisters and family handing out these blue ribbons before the hearing. Blue was...
It makes me a little, we're not going to stop it too much, but it makes me a little disappointed. I guess I wouldn't even give him a plea in the first place. Don't give him the opportunity to plea. This is a death penalty case, so let the car, because it's absolutely
Linda's favorite color. Prosecutors say despite being tortured and starved at home, this little girl was a straight A student. Rendell Hoagland was emotionless as he pleaded guilty. One family member told the court that she hoped he met evil worse than him in prison. Rendell Hoagland pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and conspiracy for his admitted role in the murder of his daughter, Malinda Hoagland. In court, Chester County prosecutors detailed the severe, repeated beatings, starvation, and torture of the 12-year-old. They say it spanned years. The torment was captured on surveillance cameras. Detectives say Hoagland and his partner, Cindy Warren, had installed inside their Coatesville area home. On May 4th, 2024, Malinda was rushed to Paoli Hospital. Prosecutors say Hoagland first told police Malinda got hurt after falling off her bike. When arriving at the ER, Malinda was unconscious and emaciated, weighing only 50 pounds. Malinda's half-sisters, who say they were kept from her, wanted to put this day behind them.
It's very heavy, but it's a part of the puzzle that we need to complete in order to get justice for Malinda.
Hoagland's guilty plea spares him the death penalty. He'll be in prison for the rest of his life without the possibility of parole. Cindy Warren has pleaded not guilty and is scheduled for trial later this spring. The couple was accused of removing Malinda from school in late 2023 and enrolling her in a cyber charter academy. Prosecutors say in early 2024, Hoagland and Warren ramped up their abuse. Lawsuits since filed on behalf of the family accused Chester County children, youth, and families of failing to follow up on red flags after Malinda withdrew from school. The agency has said it won't comment on pending litigation. Malinda's half-sisters say it is their prayer no family ever has to go through the pain and trauma this has caused.
We hope to never be here ever again, and if there ever were another family, we'd be individuals willing to stand with them.
Attorneys for Rendell Hoagland told me outside the courthouse that he has accepted responsibility for what happened. His guilty plea carries no condition of having to testify against his partner, Cindy Warren. One final note. Prosecutors brought up the fact that while Malinda Hoagland was being tortured and starved at home, she often wrote thank you notes and notes of love to cafeteria workers. They say were providing Malinda with cartons of milk and applesauce. That's something prosecutors say was likely the only sustenance Malinda was receiving.
They shouldn't have gave him a plea. He needed to. You know, you mean to tell me the little girl, 12 years old, was writing thank you notes to the cafeteria workers because that's the only people who are feeding her? I'm happy that the girlfriend is going through trial, pleading not guilty. That way she can get the full maximum of the penalty, of the punishment. This is a crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Let's go over to the AI breakdown just to finish it up and see what else we can find out or anything else. So on May 4th, 2024, they called 911 and falsely claimed that she crashed her bicycle into a tree. And they found her emancipated, weighing only 50 pounds and covered in roughly 75 bruises and ulcers. She died at the hospital that evening from starvation and blunt force trauma. The investigation shows that Malinda was subjected to horrific abuse, including being ankle shackled to the furniture like an air hockey table, forced to perform intense physical exercises for hours, and denied food. The defendants used home camera system to monitor and berate Miranda through speakers, even when they were not in the room. This is her father. One of them was her father. The defendant uses, Malinda was a straight A student, but was removed from in-person school in November 2023 to attend a cyber school, which investigators believe was an attempt to hide her injuries. So they said that Randall, he's pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy, and he is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. So that's a little, I like that, no possibility of parole, plus an additional 30 to 60 years. His plea deal allows him to avoid the death penalty. So he just has to stay alive in prison for the rest of his life. Cindy has pleaded not guilty and remains in custody without bail. Her trial is set for June 8th, 2026. Prosecutors are currently seeking the death penalty in her case. That's what I like to hear. Absolute systematic failures So we got a lawsuit. So Malinda's half sisters have filed a lawsuit against the Chester County Child, Youth, and Families, and the area school district, alleging that multiple agencies failed to intervene despite clear warning symbols. Yes, when you don't even do a home visit, you failed. You failed the child. In the Malinda law, her family is advocating for the legislative changes in Pennsylvania, including creation of a public database to track child abuse offenders, similar to Megan law for sex offenders. Absolutely crazy, y'all. The world, look after your kids. And anybody who messes with kids need to have to face the hardest punishments available. It's a crazy situation, y'all. But we have to find out, we have to see what happens with Cindy. See how her thing, because she's pleaded not guilty and they're going for the death penalty. So let's see if they get her the death penalty. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy.